This is Gary Berger of Berger Law. I'm here with my client and friend, JD Walker. JD, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for doing this today with us.
You're welcome.
So, JD, why are we here on video with you today?
Well, we settled. I got in a wreck about 5 years ago. State of Illinois was plowing snow. They threw it off the overpass as I was driving my rig with FedEx, and it went through hit the front of the truck, come up over the windshield and crashed through, and the impact had snapped my neck. So we, after 2 neck surgeries, one good and the second one that left me permanently disabled and with some major limitations, we decided to sue the state of Illinois.
And we did.
And we did. And we won.
And we won, but we didn't settle the case. We tried it, right?
We did. We did try it. Yeah, we tried it a few months after my dad passed away, I think in April of 2018.
Yes, we did. And we waited for 3 years for a decision.
Yep. And it was only supposed to take up to 90 days. But
yeah, so there's a lot of lessons in your case. So a lot of things I like about you that I've learned over there. One is that you're an amazing musician, an accomplished musician, a well-known musician in the Nashville area, right?
Yep, I am.
Yep. And so hats off to you. And maybe the pandemic's getting over, because I've been starting to go hear music more. So I hope you line up more gigs.
I hope so. We're starting to. We had a big one lined up in the UK, and of course they canceled it again this year. So right now we're starting to work on some dates for 2022. So we hope. I certainly hope it's we can get back to it. So it's been a long, hard road.
And and then the second thing, and I got a lot more I can talk to you about, because your case has a lot of issues in it. As this is a February 24th, 2016 crash. We tried it in 18 or 19, 18, as you said, and then we waited a long time for a decision in this case. So you're a patient man too. So thank you for your patience. But I wanted people to not think all cases take this long. This is a unique case because you had a work comp case. So you got work comp benefits.
I did.
Because you were working at the time. You're a truck driver and a musician, right? Yep. Professional truck driver for years.
Yeah, over 25, almost 25.
Yeah. You got how many how many miles? Millions?
About 1.5 million. I had logged over 1 million, and that was way before I had went to work for FedEx.
So we represent truck drivers too. Sometimes my firm, sometimes we have cases against truck drivers, but we also have represented many of them. And it was weird. Your case is weird in that it was MoDOT ice and snow was going over a bridge, shooting the ice over the side of the bridge and being irresponsible and negligent that way. You didn't know that. You're driving and then you get hit. You couldn't see and you crashed, but you had a really controlled crash though too.
Yeah, it was, by the grace of God, I kept it upright. I almost flipped it. The rear trailer did come up off the ground, but I tell everybody it was like, God was in the passenger seat and I was just steering, helping me steer the wheel. I ended up,
whole front windshield shattered.
Both windshields shattered, knocked both my mirrors off, cracked the top fiberglass overhead, busted out the whole grill, cracked the hood. So yeah, it was pretty damaging.
To your credit, you didn't flip it, and you also didn't hurt anybody else on the roadway. So
yeah, no, I never hit anybody. And I come very, very close. So the lady said I was inches away from her. So it was I was very, very fortunate. Nobody else was involved.
It's a crazy thing about driving. You go 1.5 million miles, but you got to deal with something in seconds, and if you don't act right, it can be hurt. So the other thing is another interesting thing about your case is, well, let me ask you this before I say what I think. I want to ask you what's the lesson you take from this case? Something you didn't know before this all happened to you, and now you've learned through the process that it's something that people may not appreciate.
You got to be patient. Trust the process. Sometimes case settles fast. Sometimes they take years. I really didn't think it would take this long. But that's just what happens when you deal with the state. When you're suing a state, one thing I did learn, it's not the traditional judicial process. It's totally different. And in order to file appeals and all that, you have to go, you have to go through all that. And these states, they create the laws that control it. So it's, getting a victory out of this was very fortunate.
Tremendous. And we got $400,000, over $400,000 for you in this win.
We did. It's nowhere near what we sued for, but it was a major victory for us.
Remember what's the offer they had you going into trial and until we got the decision?
Yeah, zero.
I mean, it was a zero offer case, always was from a zero. So you took it from zero to $470,000. $407,000 you and I did together, right?
We did.
And the interesting thing about that, and you said it exactly right, JD, is if you ever sue a state, they decide how they waive their sovereign immunity. And different states do it differently. And in Illinois, to make a claim against to make a claim against the state of Illinois, you got to do it through the Illinois Court of Claims. So what you and I did is we filed the suit in the Illinois Court of Claims. We litigated. You did your depot. I came down to your neck of the woods and took some of your doctor's depots, and then we tried the case to a hearing officer, a judge, who took all the notes down and took all the transcripts. But it was an actual trial. You testified. You did great, by the way.
Thank you.
You did great on cross, and we submitted it all. But what we had, you were on the side of the road with a herniated disc in your neck, and you didn't have time to go track down that truck that hit you.
No.
So we didn't know. So we had, you told the police right there it was an Illinois DOT truck. So we really we didn't have a definite defendant to sue anyway.
Right.
And we had to prove that. So do you remember all the work we did? We got all their documents and what people were on the road, and we took all these depots to prove it was an Illinois DOT truck.
Yep.
And we kind of did it by a process of elimination because we established that county did not do their own snow plowing, and the Illinois MoDOT did, Illinois DOT did, and then we established that they were in the area, blah blah blah. But it was they fought us hard. They tried to say it wasn't them at trial.
They did. Yep. They tried to say it was they sold some of their trucks to counties, but that was a state route. A county does not plow a state route. And I truly believe that's where they lost, was because that was a state route. States do not contract counties to plow state routes. State routes have to be plowed by them.
You're exact. And that's the point I made at the trial when I was cross-examining that guy. I was like, this is state Illinois. Was that route 11, 3, 11? I forget. 15, I don't forget. Anyway, but yeah, we made that point. But we were fighting that too, big time. It was Illinois. It was, you were on Route 15, snow being plowed off the overpass on the I-57 below. So you're on 57 and 15 was going over you.
Yep.
Here's the other. So anyway, we tried it. We won. We waited years for the decision, but we won the $407,000. And then the other thing about it is they still don't have to pay it till the Illinois legislature approves it. And I thought it'd be like a year, but we got this check like in 3 months. So we got the check real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually expecting it to be, I had moved my finances around to tide me over until then. I mean, I'm on permanent disability now because of this. I'll never drive a truck again. And there's, it's limited me on what I can do. So I was very fortunate, to start a business to do real estate photography and drone photography, and that supplements my income enough just for me to make it. So I'm very blessed and fortunate in that aspect, and plus I have my music on top of that. So yeah, it's been a crazy ride. If someone told me 6 years ago this is where I'd be, I would have never believed them.
Here, the other thing on your crazy ride is that, so you had work comp benefits. They paid for your surgery.
Yep.
I went and deposed the doctor, and you know the story well, but I'm just going to tell a little bit of it because you're coming out of neck surgery. He
Yep.
goes into your room to see you. he sees that you start going out, you drop your arm, you're starting to lose consciousness. He's like, holy shit, what's going on? He personally took your bed, wheeled you into the elevator, brought you back into the surgery because he knew, and he was a good doctor. He knew you had an aneurysm in your neck. So you popped the blood vessel, which is I've done 1 million doctor's depots, JD, and everybody says that that's a possible sequela or possible result from one of these surgeries. I've never seen it happen. It happened to you.
Yeah, I had a blood clot with the base of my brain, and
Exactly.
Developed paralysis in front of him, and
right in front of the doctor. He said your arm. He was holding your arm. He's checking you, and you're starting to not be able to use it.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he told me to lift my right leg. I lifted my right leg, and then he said lift your left leg, and all of a sudden I couldn't. And my brain's telling me it moved, and it never moved. And I could just see his eyes wandering, and his brain was turning. And he's like, they said, you want to wheel him up to CAT scan? He said, there isn't time. Get him back to the OR. And by the time they got me to the basement, my vitals started to crash. My blood pressure bottomed out. My oxygen levels bottomed out.
What were you thinking when you couldn't move your left leg? What were you thinking when you were going through that?
It was so weird because they told me after I come out of ICU, when I woke up in ICU, that my vitals had crashed and they almost lost me. And my body just had all these weird sensations. It was hard to explain. I mean, it was just everything was happening all at once in split seconds. I mean, I couldn't feel this. I couldn't feel that. I couldn't catch my breath. It was just and my body started having all these weird emotions. And I was sitting there looking at the nurse going, what's going on? She's like, you're going to be okay. And I'm like, something ain't right. I know something's not right. And the next thing I know, I'm out. And I woke up in ICU, and she said, what's the last thing you remember? And I said, I vaguely remember it. I said, it's weird. And she goes, well, what? And I said, it's like I was looking down at myself while you all were gathered around my bed praying. And she said, oh, that wasn't a dream. That really happened. And she said, your blood pressure and everything bottomed out so low, you about flatlined. And she says, luckily you got a strong heart. And she's like, and we brought you back. And I was like, so she said, yeah, you had an out of body experience. And so that was, being that close to death. I mean, I've been in wrecks before and had never been that close to death, knocking on death's door. But
you're a tough guy. You've lived life, man. You haven't been on the sidelines.
So it's been, that was definitely a eye opener that God wasn't finished with me yet. So,
well, how fortunate, how blessed were you that the surgeon was there? He was there. He was examining you, and then you're crashing while he's looking. And he was like, he wheeled it himself. And you're right. He didn't go to the CT. He said, we're going right to the OR. And he went. They put you under, he cleaned it. I don't even think he unscrubbed. He just put some stuff, he opened it, he sliced open right where you were. He went and found that blood clot right there, and he released it and cauterized and did all that stuff and did it.
The other surgeon was leaving the hospital, and he was actually in his Porsche, and they had called him and said, where are you at? And he says, I'm pulling out. And they said, come back. We have an emergency. And he told me he pulled his Porsche right up to the emergency room exit and went running in. And they took all the hardware back at me that he just installed, peeled my muscles completely off my shoulder blades, opened me up further, and had to go in and fix all that. And then they waited 2.5 hours and left me open to monitor to make sure it wouldn't happen again. And then they laid my muscles back over my shoulder blades, put all the hardware back in me, and monitored me for 2 days in ICU.
Wow. You've had a long road in this case. I mean, you fought comp, you fought the medical, you got the surgeries, you fought back to get back to where you could. Then we fought the state of Illinois denying it ever even happened the whole time. Today, until now, they've never admitted it until this decision on May 5th. They never admitted it. And then we win the case, and then we take such a delay. And you are, honestly, I have a lot of pride in being able to represent you. I have a lot of pride in being your partner in this. So thank you for that gift to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Couldn't have done this without you. So.
It's funny. I haven't seen you since the trial. I mean, we talk and stuff on occasion, but it's good to see you on Zoom. Yeah, now the pandemic hit. So, right. So, all right. So now, so we got a check for 407,000. We're processing it through our account. We're dealing with the lien,
Yeah,
the whole thing. We've been talking to those. I know Casey's been emailing you. How great is Casey, my paralegal?
awesome. Yeah, her and I've gotten pretty close over the past several years. So yeah,
Everybody likes me, but everybody likes Casey more than me.
yeah.
So, which is okay. That's true for my wife and my mom too. It's all good. Uh, Great. Well, what else? But let me ask you this. I mean, would you, what do you think about my firm and how we did for you? Would you recommend us?
Absolutely. You guys have been 100% professional um, and through all this. And I think you guys really pay attention to detail. You dot the I's and cross the T's. So, anybody knows that one little mishap, with a case, it can throw a monkey wrench in everything. So you guys really make sure everything's correct.
Thank you. We did. And the great that what I'm proud, one of the things I'm real proud about in your case is this is a zero offer case that we took to trial and
Right.
we won them and we made them pay. They say you can't fight City Hall. We fought City Hall and we won.
Right.
And I know you wanted more money. I know you did, but
Did I think we went for 2.6 million because of everything they, all the disabilities and everything. But
and they weren't, but this court of claims that issued this decision, then you got to appeal it to another court of claim. But anyway, I mean, they just did not accept the damage side of it, the future wages side. And that's tough. And, one of the things that's tough about it is when you have a case that's so much later, like 5 years later, it's hard to say you can't work. I mean, it's just hard. You know that.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And it wasn't even after I recovered from work comp. It wasn't that I couldn't find a job. I had showed the disability judge that I said, look, it's not that I don't want to work. I can't, and nobody's going to touch me. And here's why. And she asked me what I plan on doing, and I told her, that I was pretty much, I was good at photography, and this was what I was going to do, but I could not make it without this disability. And luckily, she agreed with the doctors and everything, saying that I'd never drive a truck again and work in this line of work. And they even brought in vocational rehabilitation specialists, and they agreed with the doctors at 97%. So, luckily I went ahead and got my disability, but
That was after our trial though.
yeah. And, I just got they just approved the disability last year. I fought that for almost 2 years. And luckily I had the work comp come in and that kept me afloat. But, I used it all trying to stay afloat and keep my house.
Well, I think you're going to get a big chunk out of this thing. And, I know you're frugal. I know you'll spend it well because, this money is for your whole life, not just today. And I know you know all that. So, but thanks a lot for letting me win this trial against the state and winning this case for you, with you.
It's been a wild ride. I don't, if I had to do over again, I don't think I would have took that run to Kansas City.
No, it ain't worth whatever you make a mile to take that run. Well, you're going to Kansas City, right?
Yeah, I was going up there. My parents lived there, so I was going. Out of Nashville, I always took a run to Kansas City anytime I could, just so I could see them. And so yeah, I took a recovery run because somebody had an accident. So these were recovered trailers in Nashville that was on their way from Atlanta, and they called me and said, "Hey, we got these 2 recovery trailers. Will you take them?" And yeah, I took them. I wish I would, but it's especially health wise. I mean, I tried to get back in the gym and work out, and I couldn't. I mean, and then I got with trainers and they just hurt me. And so, finally I met these guys at the lake a couple years ago, and they've really what I call biohacked my body to get me back to where I can do some sort of exercise and, maintain a healthy weight and try to maintain somewhat a healthy lifestyle. But, every day I'm on a heat pad. I mean, I heard it all the time. It's just, it wasn't worth it. But, God has his reasons for certain things. And so this was just one of my paths. So, I'll just keep on doing what I have to do.
Keep on going on your journey. You have someone looking out for you. So excellent. All right, man. Well, thanks for this. You're going to get this stuff here, and we're going to close another one down in our office, but this will be your one, and then we'll handle that lien. So you'll walk out of this thing with the net amount. I don't need to talk about the numbers on this public thing, but you'll walk around the net amount. It's not taxable.
Right.
Put it on your income tax return.
No,
And just and keep it to invest in your business and your other stuff. And I see Conway Twitty over your shoulder there.
yeah.
What a great musician that guy was.
And I live about a half a mile from where he used to live. So, but that is a limited edition 6 of 2,500 signed pictures that I picked up from his old manager at their estate sale. So
Awesome.
Yeah, they had 3 left. That was number 6 of 2,500. So I ended up getting it. So, and then this guitar was my uncle's that he played back in the 70s.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah,
What kind of guitar is that?
It's actually an old Fender. It's like
Wow.
a 59 model. He played that on the Grand Ole Opry.
Wow. That's great.
I always told my dad, if I hit the Grand Ole Opry, that's the guitar I'm going to play.
Oh, good. That's great. Well, great. Well, thanks for sharing with us today. I really appreciate it.
Very welcome. Have a good day, and thank you all so much.
Yeah, you're a great man. Thanks for using us. We appreciate it.